I would like to share our trip to Tanzania with you. Prior to the trip, we decided to try on our backpacks. We stuffed it full of our stuff, and guess what? We didn't really need our backpacks. All we needed was a duffel bag because our porters didn't carry backpacks. On the way there, Logan Airport was completely deserted except one place that had pizza and Aperol spritz and beer, and we filled up on that prior to our flight to Tanzania. After about a 6-hour flight to Holland and then another 8-hour flight to Kilimanjaro International Airport, we landed in Tanzania, and then we spent another 3 hours getting our nose tested with rapid PCR tests and visas and all that nonsense. It was all worth it because the hotel we stayed at in Arusha was quite nice, as you can tell by Amy's reaction in the left picture, but the food was outstanding. The accommodations were outstanding. They had showers, good water pressure. We spent a day going around Tanzania, going to the market with fly catchers, more on that later, but basically tons of fresh fruits, vegetables, fish, meat, very friendly people. Some images of Tanzania. You can see kids ride school buses, sometimes to private school, to regular school, they walk. They have these tuk-tuks, which are kind of the covered motorcycle things, and then most of the people use motorcycles for transportation, up to 3 people on a motorcycle. The roads are pretty crazy. They drive on the left side of the road, the British system, but somehow most of the time there are no accidents. There are plantations, coffee, vegetables, fruits, fresh fruits everywhere. There's a ton of food. It's quite lush, actually. I was surprised about that in Africa. And even though people don't have a lot, they have a lot of food. You can see people herding animals. They herd them on the side of the road, women carrying supplies on their head. People are very comfortable carrying things right on their head. Motorcycles are used for absolutely everything. Here, there's a bunch of guys waiting around as motorcycle taxis. And you can see that they're also used as pickup trucks where you can transport a whole lot of stuff on bad roads using motorcycles. They're extremely skilled, these motorcycle drivers. They're everywhere. Pre-briefing with Jerry in that left picture, and Hosea, who is our lead guide on the right picture, talking about the trip. Then I spent the day going to Mwenzi Regional Hospital, and this was all on one floor. You can see that the optical shop there, this is what they use to make glasses. The different wards are connected by walkways with metal roofs over them. And there's multiple wards. So that's the AIDS ward. That's the ophthalmology office in the middle shot. That's a meeting with some of the surgeons there. On the right side is the bill. It kind of the patient bill of rights, and basically a consultation costs the equivalent of $4. You can see that this is the operating theater. There are 3 operating rooms. That's kind of what the stretcher looks like. The gear is mostly outdated, but everything is quite clean. These are the supplies. You can see the suture selection, and all the supplies are quite slim. That's the anesthesia closet with all the equipment from anesthesia. They have fairly modern anesthesia machines. They have the capability to make their own oxygen. And that's Amy on the right, dressed up in the outfit that they made us wear to visit the hospital. You can see that hospital, Mwenzi Regional, pretty tough compared to the Lutheran-funded KCMC. And you can see that that's a medical school in a hospital that's quite modern looking. I didn't get a chance to go inside, but they have things like laparoscopic surgery and other things that Moenzi does not. This is our hiking group. And this is Rodrigo. He's into real estate, and he's a climber from Bolivia, now Washington, D.C. This is Christian. He is a trainer and a vlogger from Los Angeles, ex-basketball player. This is Wilbur. He is our co-owner of the Killer Warrior Company. This is Troy and Becky, a couple from Utah. Troy is a retired commodities trader, and Becky is a therapist. Came in handy on the trip. This is Hosea, our lead guide. This is Jerry, next to Amy, and he's a co-owner of the company as well. He's an accountant from Canada, Montreal. Amy and Dimitri, and this is Greg, who's an entrepreneur, happens to live just 5 miles down the road from us in Reading, Massachusetts. So that's kind of the group. On our way to Kilimanjaro National Park, the Lemosho Gate, that's the route that we're going to take, the Lemosho route. All the porters weighing their gear, and this is very important. This is all the porters that are just in our group. There are 49 people that were needed to get 7 of us up the mountain, and more on that later. And you can see these are the buses, 3 buses for porters, 1 bus for us, and they're all loading up all supplies. You can see these are they take a duffel bag, they stick it inside of this pack, and then they carry it on their head in addition to their own pack. These are some of the rules and tariffs of the park, saying, you know, you can, if you get dehydrated, so forth, you better, if you get altitude sickness, head back down. Lots of paperwork that we have to fill out prior to getting into the park. It's organized, but it's quite organized who's there and how long they're there. And this is the entryway, the Landarsi Gate, Lemosho Gate. So again, this is our main guides of our group. This is, you can see how they carry their own pack on their back, and then the luggage on their head. And then we just go with either a day pack, or Amy and I carried nothing. We had day porters that carried even our day pack. And this is the rainforest is where we start out. And this is the Lemosho Gate. This is how we go. And these are our porters. Amy's porter is Gilbert. He's carrying his stuff and her day pack. And my porter is Johannes. He's carrying his backpack and my day pack on his front. And you can see the rainforest. There's some monkeys there and other animals, and it's quite lush and a very nice walk. Lots of talking, getting to know people. This is our first camp. Elevation is not that high in the forest, 8,000 feet, maybe approaching 10,000. And everything is all set up for us. When we arrive, all the tents are set up. This is our bathroom tent. This is the bathroom tent guy who's in charge of that. There are little marine toilets. We have what's called washi, which is warm water, some soap that we can wash with. And this is the eating tent, and they'll serve before dinner some tea and popcorn for snacks. And you could see some of the people from our group enjoying that. You can see that some of the meals that are served are just phenomenal quality meals. I'll show you how they prepare those. And they're served in this tent, and absolutely yummy. Tilapia, Veracruz. What do you call it? Veracruz?
Yeah, tilapia Veracruz.
Coconut rice.
And beef sauce, and garlic, fried chicken, peanuts, and cucumber salad.
Yeah, that is outstanding. Oh my gosh.
So that was the way that we were eating a lot. After we would eat, we would go into our tents, and at lower elevation, we were able to read, like you say, Amy, reading. And then in the morning, they would wake us up with coffee right in our tent opening, coffee or hot chocolate, whatever we wanted. And it seemed like completely a luxurious experience. Then we walked the next day continue through the rainforest into the heather zone. The heather zone is kind of shorter vegetation, and we start to see some views there. You can see the changing kind of landscape, but again, warm during the day. This is another midday stop for lunch. They set up the lunch tent. They have fried chicken and salad and rice and bread, and very relaxing, warm. We're enjoying ourselves. It doesn't really even seem like we're working, just having fun.
Amazing. Amazing.
See, that's a quite large caterpillar, plants of these flowering trees. This is what's called the Shira Plateau. This is another old crater basin. And again, we're just enjoying the views and the hike, moving right along, doing quite well. So this is the Shira camp. And you can see that they set up everything. They doing the washing the dishes. We're feeling good. It's warm. This is Mama Lewis. Mama Lewis is the cook. That's him looking straight ahead, and this is one of his helpers. They have these big propane cylinders that they use for cooking, and pots and pans and vegetables and eggs. You can see they didn't break any eggs, and everything is brought on people's heads, and enough food for 50 porters and 7 hikers for 9 days. You can imagine what that is like. And it's always the warmest place in the camp is the cooking tent, and it's also a great place to sit and talk.
Do the stick test and chuck it up on the ceiling. If it sticks, it's good.
It's good? Yeah. Okay.
Can I try?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
But he wasn't sleeping at all.
Really?
And no, and so then after like 2 days, he started to sleep in 3 days, and then he said, I'm fine. But some people take it every single night.
I saw you. I used to feel like that before, so my patients like the story. Every day they were cooking.
So
That's
that's spinach and onion. Spinach and onion only. And you're making that's making a sauce.
No.
The sauce.
That's not like this. Yeah.
It's just sauteing.
You do it all, the two of you, how many cooks? You're the chief.
Huh?
Cook. Did you do all the cooking?
Yeah,
No.
me, Adam,
And if I no finance.
Cucumber, onion,
cucumber,
tomato.
onion,
tomato,
green
green
pepper.
pepper.
This is most overnight. Okay, wait. Sema ya mchana tumeiweza. Ya mchana tumeiweza.
Boy, did you see the lady go down on the steps?
Kuna hot porridge, kuna sausage,
And she had a visa, but we talked to her husband and 2 sons. And
Nadhani ni nani,
Well, and 14,
achana nazo.
and they did not sum it.
Haya,
And she did.
breakfast you.
And she wasn't feeling well,
Seven.
and they had to bring her
Sawa.
down.
Yeah, oh, sikiliza. Ushamaliza?
And then when I got to their stretchers, they saw
Mimi
this.
namalizia malizia sasa.
They put her
Kaka,
in there and they put
kaka,
her straight
kaka,
down. So the
nataka
two
tukusaidia
sons
kwa
and
kidogo
the
ise kama
husband
robot
went down
au
first, which is probably smart, so you didn't have to watch it.
I'm gonna take
He's the most famous man on the
yeah. He's the chef. There's the sous chef,
mountain.
and there's
the sous chef.
the other sous chef.
This is
And
Chris.
he's the
And
food
Chris.
eater.
The taste tester.
Yeah.
Excellent, tumuonyeshe leo mkubwa.
So this is kind of how the tents or our campsites would look. There's a guy that would fill up our water bottles using this military grade water filter that they would pump out of water that they would get out of streams. And this is again Shira Camp, feeling good, getting a little cooler in the afternoon. There's a good wind, but again, some beautiful pictures of the night sky and the tents lit up from the inside. And then when we get up in the morning, we're cold, but we get our first view of the top of Kilimanjaro. And you can see right there, and Amy brushing her teeth. Hiked through some fog. This is one of the signs for mountain cycling. I got all excited because I thought maybe we could do some mountain biking there at some point. And again, Kilimanjaro is in the background, and Amy and I are standing on this boulder, doing a little kiss. And continuing our hike, you can see the vegetation is decreasing. There's a bunch of cairns there. They built a bunch of cairns in a field. It was kind of funny. This is a plant that makes its own antifreeze on the left there, the green plant. And you can see some of like these trees look like they almost have Spanish moss on them. And again, we're continuing to go up. This is Scott Fisher, he was a famous mountaineer, passed away during a storm on Mount Everest, and he was in that a movie. The tragic movie was about him and his group, but it says he was the one that actually founded this route, the Lamoshi Western Breach that we were doing, and only about 1% of the hikers that climb Kilimanjaro do this route. So it's a little bit technical and a little long, and so there's a plaque and a camp in his name. You can see we're running out of vegetation, but we're still talking and enjoying, and things are good. We're getting to the hiking towards our next camp, Moyer Camp, about 13,500 feet. Feeling good. You can see that the top of the mountain is in view. This is the view kind of our camp from above on the cliff. You could see these 5 tents are for the hikers. And then this is the eating, sleeping tent. And then the green tent is Mama Lewis in the kitchen. And then the 2 yellow tents is where 40 porters sleep, 20 in each tent. So you can imagine that. And we get up in the morning and there's frost. So it was below 32 at night. There's frost on the tents, but feels warm in the morning, warm enough where you can see these people having breakfast right on the ridge outside in the sun. And that's another group that was a day ahead of us. And again, hearty breakfast, crepes, sausage, French toast, and porridge, and some fruit. So again, very hearty. And then we continue our hike. You could see it's getting cooler. We're now above the clouds and we're starting to feel it. I'm certainly starting to feel the altitude. We do a lot of water breaks, and the porters are just flying and passing by us as we're doing the water breaks. This is a picture of Mount Meru, the third highest peak in Africa. We can see it there, and the clouds, we're above the clouds now, and it's quite beautiful. Right here on the right side is a porter who's not only carrying a bunch of stuff on his head, but he's doing a split for us. Again, pretty amazing. You can see along the route, they have stretchers for people that feel bad, need to be carried down the mountain. They're just laying on the side of the trail. And these are called mushroom rocks. And this is the camp. It's called Lava Tower Camp. It's 15,200 feet. I'm starting to feel the altitude at this point. Both Amy and I are starting to feel the altitude pretty good right now. And this is where we're going to spend a couple of days to acclimatize. You can see why it's called Lava Tower. This is the tower. And for acclimatization, they make us climb the lava tower. And it's basically scrambling and tricky rock kind of traverses. And you can see Amy on the left doing it quite nicely. Me on the right, I need a lot of help. But we're able to get to the top of Lava Tower, and you can see the top of the mountain here behind us. And it's pretty scary. They say don't look down. You could see Amy and Greg here hugging the rocks because the alternative is not attractive. Then as soon as the sun starts to set, it gets pretty cold. That thermometer there, as soon as it gets dark, it's 20 degrees and lower. And so we end up spending a lot of time in the tent, and we end up sleeping with absolutely everything we have inside of our sleeping bags, jackets, coats, dressed even warmer than we are in that picture. And again, it's amazing how hard the porters work. They have to go find water sources. It's melting glaciers, and then they have to carry it a kilometer to the camp. And then at night, the glacier melt stops. It freezes, and all the water in camp freezes, and we have to wait for the sun, and we have to wait for it to thaw out before we can start drinking it. You can see Amy drying her hair because when it gets warm, we were able to take a couple of sun showers on this trip. They'll boil some water and they'll put it in the sun shower, and then we're able to take a sun shower. It feels so I'm going to take this opportunity to walk us around the camp. This is at 15,200. It's called Lava Tower Camp because there's a lava tower here. You can see that where the 47 or so porters and support staff sleep in these tents, and then there's one other. This is our mess tent, and this is how we get our fresh water. This is a military grade water pump that you just pump and fill up your water bottles. They fill it up for you. That's how we wash our hands, in that bucket. Those back there are the two latrines. The tent with the open flap is our tent. You can see these are the clients' tents set up. All the cooking happens in this green tent with Mama Louie. He's absolutely brilliant. Over there in the horizon, that's the latrine for the porters. It's a pit toilet. This is where our guides sleep, in that yellow tent. All the lights that we use are rechargeable, obviously. And those are our two potties. They're basically marine potties. And that's a shower where they hang a sun shower and they heat up the water inside of the cooking tent. All the water is hauled like that gentleman's doing from about a half a kilometer away in a stream that runs from those melting glaciers that are almost gone. There's not much left. Not a lot of water left. And up there is where we're hiking tomorrow. We're staying at a camp at the bottom of that glacier tomorrow. That's going to be about 16,000 feet. We'll spend a night there, and then it's a summit push at 2:30 after that. And when there's not much going on, the porters there enjoying, but they're constantly watching us, and they're helping out, and they're truly the most amazing people. Absolutely amazing. And then I'll give you a peek inside the mess tent where every day we have amazing lunches. And this is pre-dinner. Ginger tea, regular tea, popcorn. We have a member of our group that's gluten-free. They have all that available. They cook 2 meals. It's unbelievable. I'll show you inside of our tent. We're drying our towels. We showered the last time before summit. First, I'll show you the latrine in case you're interested. Basically that. Highly functional toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and a marine potty. And then a lot of them carry a lot of stuff like that guy on their heads. Unbelievable amounts of weight. They carry their own pack for 9 days, plus our shit for 9 days. Truly amazing. And last, the inside of our tent. Decent, mommy?
Mm-hmm. Hi.
Hi. This is home sweet home for 9 days. We have a nice mattress pad that's memory foam and nice sleeping bags, but I can tell you, when we sleep at the temperatures that are here at night, it sucks ass. It's fucking cold, and I would say we wear all our outfits to bed inside those sleeping bags. Temperatures are 20 degrees probably. At night, all our water freezes, even inside the tent, and especially outside the tent. So it looks a little luxurious because they have nice mattress pads, but it's still pretty brutal. And that, along with the altitude, and I'm a little bit sick on the altitude, got a little bit of a nausea, had a little bit of a headache, now it's gone, are probably the only minuses. Everything else is absolutely spectacular. So that's that. So they have these ravens there that are quite beautiful, and you can see we're above the ravens there. They're flying. And then this is the last camp before the summit push. It's called the Arrow Glacier. And we spend another day there doing some hiking, acclimatization hiking. You see in that picture on the left, we're doing a lot of peeing. We're drinking a lot. We're peeing a lot. And we're just trying to spend some time outside during the sunlight when it's warmer, and then inside the tents when it's cold. This was a little bit demoralizing. 16,200 feet at the Arrow Glacier. My oxygen saturation is 64. For those of you that know, that's pretty bad. But I felt pretty good, and the guides felt pretty comfortable letting me continue up. You can see this is our tent site at Arrow Glacier, quite rocky above the clouds, but quite beautiful. And this is them setting up tents before our last night. And this is our going to sleep last night before an early wake up. This is Amy pointing to the western breach, which is basically we have to rock scramble up that loose scree that'll be frozen at night, and that's why you have to start no later than 5:30 a.m. And we're gonna start at 2:30 wake up. So 2:30 wake up, start hiking at 4. 2:30 wake up, 3 o'clock breakfast. Start hiking at 4 a.m. This is kind of what it looks like in the morning, and basically hiking up at night. It's pretty treacherous. There's some scrambling involved. This is the terrain. You can see Amy sitting there, and you can see the rocks. This is what we're kind of hiking on. This is dawn is breaking. We're wearing helmets because there's some rock falls that are possible. And these are our guides. They're moving us quite nicely, and as well as the porters who are carrying all our gear. You can see on the left why we do this in the dark and in the shade before the sun shines on this side of the mountain, because there's ice that holds the rocks in place. And when the sun shines on this, those rocks become unstable. This is called the Western Breach. And you can see in this photo the shadow of Kilimanjaro that's extending over the clouds towards Mount Meru. You could see that people on the hike are pretty tired, but we're certainly making it. But again, Amy and I aren't carrying much, and the porters are carrying their backpacks, stuff on their head. They're scrambling up this unbelievably difficult terrain, and doing quite well. This is another one of our breaks on the left, and on the right, Amy is the first one to make it up the western breach on the wall of the crater. And this is Amy and I on the wall of the crater. It's cold, it's sunny, it's thin air. We're only about 300 feet below the summit. And here you can see more glaciers, more snow. There on the left picture, you can see the summit. That's the summit ridge of Uhuru Peak, and we're going to take a little break at for lunch before we summit that. Um, Even walking on this terrain is also very difficult. The snow looks easy, but it's all this wind-blown kind of little stalactites, stalagmites, and you're crunching and unbalanced, but it's quite beautiful, and definitely enjoyable to be up there and to walk on kind of a relatively flat area instead of having to climb. This is this is my guide, and you can see this entire way he didn't even have any gloves. This is the final summit push. This is our walk. We got up that steep part and now are walking along the upper rim. And you can see in the very, very background there, that's the summit sign. So we're now on Uhuru Peak, just going up to the summit sign. The porters went around. They didn't climb with us, just the guides came with us. And big congratulations to everybody. It's our 25th anniversary. Unfurled the Miami flag, 19,300 feet. Pretty rugged, pretty thin air, but very happy. One of our Chris had brought his drone. He would fly, take pictures. He also had a push-up contest with one of the guides on top of the mountain. That's the volcano below us. That's the caldera of the volcano. The glaciers at the top that are disappearing, but still there. And then we start our way down. I don't have a lot of pictures on the way down because it was absolutely brutal, 5,000 vertical foot descent. You could see in this right picture, there's a lot of dust and you're descending through this scree where you have to do essentially a glissade where you're going through this loose rock and trying to maintain your balance and trying not to fall. This is going back our Killer Warrior group summit shots. And then we're pretty exhausted. Amy stripped down to her underwear. But this is the Barafa camp. Just went down 5,000 vertical feet from the summit. And this is where we're actually, after 14 hours of hiking, where we're going to stop and rest. So, and spend the night. Absolutely brutal day. So we fall into our tents. We have a small dinner. You can see Kilimanjaro in that right picture by moonlight, but certainly tough. Right here on the left picture and on the right picture, you can see they're demonstrating. These are gurneys. They're on one wheel. They have shocks. And this is how they bring people down that can't get down the mountain or that are injured or have issues with altitude. And I'm laying in the stretcher demonstrating that. And then it actually happened where when we were at a lower camp, you could see that they were bringing a woman from the top that couldn't walk anymore. And it takes 8 porters to bring somebody down the mountain because these things don't have any brakes on them and people have to just do it. Just showing you my feet after, everything is dusty, everything is dirty, but then we take a shower, the sun shower, and it's back to being enjoyable. This is a camp in the rainforest, about 10,000 feet. And then this left picture, you could see all the 5-gallon empty drums of supplies that all the supplies are brought in. One of the last good views of the Kilimanjaro on our way down. In this left picture, you can see one of our hikers decided to donate all of their hiking clothes. And so the porters line up and then they're one by one, they're picked by the lead guide to come and get some of the clothing. And then we did a big tipping ceremony at the end as well. Going back into the rainforest zone, on the right side is a Kilimanjaro flower. It's quite beautiful. Jumbo, jumbo.
Wake up, y'all.
It's muddy, it's slippery, and those guys are just absolutely flying with the stuff on their heads going down. And then at the bottom, we made it, grab a beer, get onto the buses. And
Pole, pole.
This is the warehouse of Kili Warriors, and this is where we do a ceremony to celebrate, and we get presented with our certificates, and then we present the tips to the porters. So we're all presented with our certificates, and then we present the tip, and then they're off to another trip in 4 days, and we're off to our safari. And again, just pictures of the street with how much produce, fresh produce. Maasai villagers are herding cows and cattle. You can see their huts in the distance. Lots of fresh produce, bananas, all sorts of things. A very good, healthy food. We saw a herd of elephants trashing a roadside area. And then we saw some baboons on the side of the road as well. You can see them up close here, baby hanging on the back of the mom on the right-sided picture. And then when we get to the Ngorongoro crater, another volcanic crater, the road ends.
Africa.
Africa Road is rough. This is the inside of the Ngorongoro crater. It's surrounded by these walls, and inside are all these animals, and it's really cool. These are warthogs on the right, crested cranes on the right, warthogs on the left. This is our Jeep. It's a Toyota Land Cruiser, and they're everywhere, and that is the go-to vehicle. It's absolutely indestructible. and it's easily fixable. And this is what they all have on Africa roads. Monkey and wildebeests and gazelles. Side of the road. Back there they are crossing the road. Thought about that.
Well, look at those thorns. Oh my God.
So this is a bishop tree.
Okay.
And then
Gazelles. Not that crowded actually by safari standards apparently, but still you can see all the people. Ostrich, water buffalo, bunch of tourists having lunch and staring at a hippo. That's a jackal on the left, kind of looks like our dog Jack a little bit. That's not zebras, those are giraffes, but they're in a kind of a area with people. This is Maasai villages, and you can see some Maasai. The men are in red, the women are in blue. I see a Maasai boy who's herding cattle, waving to us, and the Maasai women on the right side doing a laundry in the river. This is a bird, very colorful blue tern or some kind of bird, and a lizard. And we're now entering the Serengeti. The Serengeti is the flat part, and we're riding the Jeep about a good 12-hour Africa road ride. See some lions. Same lion. Hyena. This is called a sausage tree on the left. You can see those sausage-like fruit hanging down. And those fruit have 75% ethanol. And so the animals, especially elephants, can eat it and get actually drunk. And you see the antelope there. Antelope crossing the road. See some gray herons and the acacia tree and some birds sitting in the acacia tree. Monkey and mongooses on the right. Dik and monkeys in the tree. See the hippos. The pink on the hippos is from sun. Their skin is very sensitive apparently to the sun, and they can only spend a few amount of time exposed to the sun.
if you could smell this water coming downstream from those hippos over there, you would really smell something.
Yeah, it's really bad. Sulfur, the worst smell you can imagine.
That mongoose is screaming because that eagle likes to eat him. And he's trying to warn the other mongooses.
So we stayed at luxury tent accommodations. Looks like a MASH tent in the Serengeti, but They told us basically stay out of the tall grass, because right next to the tent in the tall grass, we heard all night long. We heard hyenas, we heard water buffalo. I mean, the animals were right there. But it was pretty cool. Again, food, wine, very luxurious, excellent, and surprisingly very few bugs. And again, quite nice. Fire, sunset, Serengeti, not bad. Saw lots of elephants. Learned that they were quite a nuisance. More baboons, zebras, giraffes. They eat acacia trees, and it's quite interesting because up close you could see the thorns on the acacia tree, and the giraffe is able to eat those green leaves in between those thorns. It's a nice day for a balloon, hot air balloon ride, safari. We saw some people doing that. Again, some pictures of a hyena, a lion, and an eland, flamingos and ostrich. The female ostrich are kind of just a brown gray. The males are the ones that have the bright black. Another lion sitting in a rock, and a young warthog that doesn't have horns yet. More gazelles. They're called Thompson gazelles with the black stripe. And this is why they tell you to stay out of the tall grass. I didn't even see this guy walking right next to our truck, but a male lion just in the grass there. And you could see that the elephants, they'll just come up to the acacia tree. They'll use their tusks to like start stripping the bark, and then they'll use their nose or their whatever snout to grab the bark off the tree, rip it off the tree, and eat it. And if they do more than 50% of the circumference of the tree will die. See a male lion sleeping there, and an eagle. And then it was time to start flying home. Basically caught a bush plane to Arusha, and the flight back to the US. No pavement. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video.